Quick fantasy football vibe check on the 2026 NFL Draft Part 1. Gonna run through a bunch of guys, say whether I love it, hate it, or don't care. We'll start in the third round with Carson Beck to the Arizona Cardinals. I freaking love this pick. I'd be drafting Carson Beck in any fantasy football leagues this year? Probably not. But I love this because Jacoby Brissett is likely going to continue to be the starter on the Cardinals. This is a guy who won me 2 of my 5 fantasy football leagues last season. Drafting or picking up garbage time Goliaths like Jacoby Brissett is a large reason why I've won over 36% of all my fantasy football leagues the last 20 plus years. I expect him to be the QB3 behind both Jacoby Brissett and Gardner Minshew, who are both better players at this point. Continuing with some third round guys, we've got Antonio Williams out of Clemson being drafted by the Washington Commanders. I freaking love this too, but sincerely this time. Being 5'11", 190 pounds would have been something that was really a knock against you maybe 15, 20 years ago when I started playing fantasy football, but these days we recognize that this is actually the archetype for a guy like an Amon-Ra St. Brown, one of those guys who's a tactical route runner, tough in the seams, can run all sorts of routes and get plays after the catch because he's crafty. For both Antonio Williams and the Commanders, we saw a little bit of regression last year from where they were in 2024 compared to 2025. Antonio Williams was one of the best receivers in college football in 2024, having over 1,000 yards, 12 touchdowns, but then last season kind of regressed a bit more like in the 700 yards, 4 touchdown range. Similarly, of course, the Commanders had a very much a down year after Jaden Daniels' injury, after nearly getting to the Super Bowl his rookie season. In fantasy, you love to see regression to the mean, which is why I expect both Antonio Williams and the Commanders to bounce back this year. Change of scenery, my daughter wanted to make some puzzles with me. Now let's talk about Denzel Boston to the Browns. I hate this. Boston was actually one of my favorite receivers going into the draft, but the fact that he's on the Browns and was drafted after another guy suggests that he's not going to necessarily get the volume or the quality of looks considering what the Browns have at a quarterback. If you're curious about where I rank all these guys, by the way, I'm going to be putting up my rankings soon on my site fansports.com. I helped thousands of you win your leagues last year. The goal is for even more this year. You have all those pieces in your hand. We've got Jeremy Bernard to the Steelers. I also like this pick. Also can feasibly fit that sort of Amon-Ra St. Brown role where he's a thick, sturdy receiver, kind of a Swiss Army knife, and can do a lot of things. So I don't know how many reps he's going to get ahead of DK Metcalf and Michael Pittman Jr. And that leads me to the last guy I want to talk about in this video. You did it! Drew Allar, drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers. I love this pick. Steelers now have above average wide receivers. People for some reason are saying this is a raw prospect, but he played 4 seasons at Penn State. He was actually better as a sophomore and junior than he was as a senior. I love the fact that over his sophomore and junior years, he had 10 rushing touchdowns. This is a big-bodied quarterback who gets goal line sneaks and rushing TDs. And we're going to go read a book right now. But thank you guys so much for spending a few valuable minutes of your day watching this. Stay tuned for part 2. Let me know which players you're curious about my opinions on. Stay learning. I'll see you in the next one. Peace. And what letter is this?
A lowercase f.
A lowercase f. Wow, you're only 2 and you already know that.